Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a thriller drama film, Take Shelter. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with Curtis witnessing a rainstorm made of motor oil. Immediately, he takes a shower to get rid of that nasty smell. It is otherwise a sunny day. It is only a dream. Afterward, he goes down to the dining room to eat breakfast with his wife and a mute daughter. Curtis left the house, and now the sky is more apparent than ever. He goes to a mining site for work. Curtis and his colleague are about to mine more gravel, but he warns him because it is about to rain again. On the other hand, Curtis' wife is having afternoon tea with her friends in their house. She sees her mute daughter playing with scaffolds outside and tells the daughter to stop it. Not long after, it rains heavily again. Curtis and his colleagues stop digging for gravel while his wife and friends' tea sessions are interrupted. Later that evening, Curtis goes home and drops his colleague at his house. Curtis arrives at the house and checks his mute daughter into her room. His wife comes in and tells him to clean up the pile of scaffolding in their backyard to avoid any accident for their daughter. Curtis agrees and promises to do it the following morning. The next day, Curtis starts cleaning the mess in their backyard. A heavy cloud is approaching again, and this time, it's not the usual storm-like clouds. The dog barks loudly, and his mute daughter is scared while seeing the heavy clouds and thunder. A tornado forms from the clouds, and his bad-tempered dog is madly barking. The dog attacks Curtis as it slips free of its leash. He is shocked awake from a deep sleep by the sound of his own screams. He is gasping for air. Curtis prepares for work and sees her mute daughter playing with their dog. He grabs her daughter and tells his wife to avoid the dog from their mute daughter. Curtis leaves without having breakfast. He arrives at the mining site and is having a toolbox meeting with his boss. He has to recover from the delayed work from that day that rained heavily. Curtis and his colleague are hindered from their project for a day, so they need to recover. That afternoon, Curtis arrives home early to attend the class meeting for his daughter. That evening, Curtis is having a nightmare again. This time, he and his daughter crash into a tree due to heavy rainfall. He wakes up from a daze and sees some people outside, forcing them to break into their car. An anonymous man forcefully breaks the window and grabs his daughter. He screams loudly and wakes up. He realized that he had nightmares and hallucinations, both crimes and natural disasters. Curtis' wife notices the unusual behavior, asks him if he is sick, and offers medicine to take. Curtis declines and assures his wife that he is excellent. Then, his wife and daughter leave the house to attend a school fair. Since it is Curtis' day off, he decides to make a fence to their backyard to secure their bad-tempered dogs from attacking his daughter. While he is in the backyard, thinking of how he can get rid of the scaffoldings, he remembers that they have a basement. He sees the door open, but it is locked. He goes inside the house, looks for the keys, and finds one. He then opens the basement and is surprised with an awful smell and clouds of dust. He examines the area and enters the basement. His wife and daughter get home later that night. His wife is perplexed as to why their dog is kept outdoors. They're both glued to the news on TV. As a result of this, Curtis neglects to pay attention to her. Meanwhile, Curtis notices that someone is roaming around outside their house. He peeks at the window and sees an unknown man. Her daughter appears beside him, scared. Also, it rains again heavily at that moment. He feels that the area surrounding him will fall deep below the Earth's surface. But then again, this is all just a dream. Curtis wakes up sweating and he sees the bed sheet is wet. He just peed from the dream he had. His wife comes inside their bedroom and Curtis shouts at his wife not to go near him. He is shy of what just happened. On that same day, Curtis takes his daughter to a library. He grabs a book from a shelf about mental illnesses. Afterward, Curtis and his daughter leave and are now running late for a family meal at their residence, including some other relatives. Later that night, he cleans the basement and stores some emergency foods he brought while he and his daughter were on the way home. Meanwhile, his wife wonders where Curtis is at. His wife peeks at the window and sees the light from the opening of the basement. On the following day, Curtis goes to a clinic to get a consultation. He discloses to the doctor that he has been having trouble sleeping for 4 days now. He is wondering if he could get some medicine to take a good rest. The doctor prescribes him a mild sedative for him to take. The doctor also refers him to consult a psychiatrist. Also, his wife visits the insurance agent to get a piece of advice for their daughter's operation to restore her hearing. Luckily, Curtis has a good insurance provider, and it will cover the whole procedure of his daughter. Meanwhile, Curtis goes to the pharmacy to buy the prescribed sedative for his sleeping problems. Curtis arrives home and is greeted by his wife with great news on their daughter's upcoming operation. Curtis wakes up feeling great the following day. The sedative works perfectly fine. He then goes to work, but he hears thunder sounds this time and is having a hallucination. His colleague is not even hearing and seeing what Curtis is talking about. His colleague asks him what is going on, but instead, he vomits out from his work. He leaves the mining site and decides to visit his mother. Curtis' mother is surprised by his visit. He asks his mother if she can still remember when and how his mother was diagnosed with mental illness. His mother narrates how his father leaves her mother and becomes mentally unstable after that. Curtis also asks his mother if she also has terrible dreams, but her mother experiences hallucinations from unknown people whispering eerily in her. Curtis arrives late that night, and her wife falls asleep waiting for Curtis. He mentions that he visited his mother. Before he goes to sleep, he pays a visit to his daughter's room to check on her. On the next day, Curtis comes to the bank to take a loan to finance his plans in building a calamity shelter. The accountant discloses to Curtis that his loan is too risky, since it costs too much from his previous loans, knowing that he is not financially stable. Curtis assures the accountant that he is capable of repaying this loan. Meanwhile, Curtis visits a mental counselor. He tells her everything he has been experiencing for the past weeks. Curtis asks the counselor if he got this mental illness from his mother, but the counselor refuses to agree to his conclusion. Curtis then starts narrating his childhood experiences to the counselor and the dreams he has been seeing in his sleep. On his way home, he sees heavy thunderstorms. He is now confused about whether he is hallucinating or a true sign of an upcoming calamity. The next day, Curtis starts to build the calamity shelter from his backyard. His wife and daughter see the work he has been doing. His wife thinks that he is already out of his mind. They argue about this project. Curtis confesses to his wife that he applied for a calamity shelter loan. Now his wife has a clear vision of why Curtis has been acting weird lately. After this, Curtis decides to go and take his sedatives. Instead of taking the prescribed dosage, he takes more pills. A couple of hours past, Curtis was having a seizure. He is also vomiting blood. His wife is calling the ambulance, but Curtis stops her. The ambulance arrives at their residence, but Curtis is already in his perfect state this time. The medics leave and remind him to call them if anything happens again. Curtis confesses to his wife about the disturbing hallucinations and the calamities he dreams of. His wife is crying that she is helpless of what Curtis is experiencing. He asks his boss to assign him another colleague during Curtis' work. Curtis feels that he does not want to work with a friend anymore. This is something weird. His colleague has never done something wrong to Curtis, but still, he insists on this favor. The boss also notices Curtis' absences from work. He tells about his daughter's upcoming operation. However, the boss is unable to compromise the job that his employees have postponed. He instructs Curtis to make up for the time that was squandered. Curtis complies with his boss's directives. Curtis' brother comes to the house to visit him. His brother is a bit worried about Curtis' state of mind. The brother asks Curtis where he gets all the finances to make the calamity shelter. Curtis answers that it comes from his savings. Obviously, he is lying. His brother knows the truth since Curtis' wife calls him the brother. This time, Curtis asks his brother to take their dog. His brother agrees and leaves the house. Curtis' disturbing hallucinations continue. He imagines things like his wife is planning to kill him. His boss visits his house and sees the shelter he made in the backyard. The boss receives news that Curtis is using the equipment from work to make the shelter, and his boss is not fine with that confirmation. Immediately, the boss fires Curtis. Now, they are worried about his daughter's upcoming surgery. His wife is mad and slaps him. They are now wondering where they can get the funds. His wife suggests canceling their beach trip to cover their daughter's surgery. The following day, Curtis' family attends a gathering with their friends. His colleague is also there and is mad seeing him. His colleague knows that Curtis asked the boss to relocate the colleague to another department. The colleague punches him in the face, resulting in him falling on the floor. Everyone is talking about him that he is crazy and a thief. He declares to everyone that he is not crazy, and there is an upcoming storm that everyone except him is not prepared for. Before they leave, he tells everyone that he hopes they get a nice sleep when this happens. The day that Curtis is dreaming about comes. An emergency alert wakes the family, and they immediately transfer to the calamity shelter that Curtis made. The family stays for a few days in the shelter. However, the wife wakes him up to open the shelter. Cutie's hallucinations are to blame for all of this. A tragedy or any other disaster has not occurred. His mind has concocted everything. Despite his wife's pleas, he refuses to let her in. She promises him she won't leave Curtis, according to his wife. He then opens the door. A mix of light and clouds welcomes him, leaving no sign of a calamity in its wake. We can see the frustrations in Curtis' face. He drags his family with all the delusions he is experiencing, which scares his family. Curtis and his wife go to a mental counselor. Curtis needs to cut ties from the shelter he made to avoid imagination. He needs serious medication for his mental illness, as per the counselor. The movie ends with the family on a beach spending their time together. Curtis and his daughter are playing in a sandcastle. They are both laughing and giggling. His daughter stops when she sees something is coming in their direction. From afar, Curtis sees a vast tornado coming. His wife is also aware of it. For the first time, it's all for real. The wife's expression is one of dread. They are now wondering how they can escape and get to the calamity shelter that Curtis made. This is Daniel's CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.